Hello and welcome back to another in-depth weather video. If you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. I am back again with another tropical update. We just made a video on Tropical Depression 13. Now we're going to make a video on Tropical Depression 14. Current maximum sustained winds of 35 miles an hour, minimum central pressure of 1,007 millibars, and is moving west at 21 miles an hour. Let's look into first the cone of this storm. We are forecasting this to become a tropical storm probably later today. Kind of skirt past the coast of Honduras and then continue to turn toward the northwest, hit the Yucatan Peninsula, cross over the Yucatan into the Gulf of Mexico, and eventually pose a threat to the United States. Both Texas and Louisiana are in the cone. And that would be Tuesday that we could possibly see this starting to make landfall. Alright, so key messages. Tropical Depression 14 is expected to strengthen over the northwestern Caribbean Sea through Saturday, and it could produce tropical storm force winds and heavy rainfall over portions of the coast of Honduras and the Bay Islands beginning tonight through Friday. The system could be near or at hurricane strength when it reaches the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico late Saturday, and watches could be required for a portion of that area later today. The system is expected to move into the south-central Gulf of Mexico as a tropical storm on Sunday. Strengthening is anticipated while it moves northwestward over the western Gulf of Mexico early next week, but it is too soon to know exactly how strong it will get or the location and magnitude of the impact it will produce along the central and northwestern Gulf Coast. Interested in that area should continue to monitor the progress of the system over the next few days. Next up, arrival time of winds with 5-day wind speed probabilities. As you can see, highest chance of tropical storm force winds is kind of in between Honduras and the Yucatan. That is 60 to 70% chance. Then that goes down as it hits the Yucatan Peninsula and weakens, and then the highest chance for the US currently would be, I think that is 10 to 20% along the very coasts of Texas and Louisiana. And again, the highest strength is forecast to start around Friday at 8 a.m. to Friday at 8 p.m. So let's move on to the graphic here, well, this PDF. So if this storm gets named, it will be Tropical Storm Marco. Alright, let's move on. Here is the current Caribbean goes east sector view. On the satellite imagery, you can see TD14 right there. Has some decent circulation. Thunderstorms aren't completely organized. You can see a couple clusters of thunderstorms in there. So as this continues to move on, it will strengthen, it'll get more organized, and we'll see this pose a pretty decent threat in a very coastly area. And this formed in a very similar area to where Hurricane Michael formed, but this is expected to take a more northwest path instead of a pretty much straight north path. Let's move on to the current storm information. Here we are, Tropical Depression 14. We see the global and hurricane models kind of showing something similar to the actual forecast cone, showing it moving west now, taking that turn, and then hitting the Yucatan, and then eventually hitting Texas or Louisiana. One of them actually showing it hitting the Yucatan and then hitting northern Mexico, and another one's just showing it weakening over Honduras. So definitely a little bit of a range here. GFS ensemble showing that kind of same trend, moving west. This shows it getting really close to Honduras and Nicaragua, and then taking that shift northwest. This kind of has it showing it making that second landfall a little bit further south in Mexico. Canadian is showing that same kind of turn to the northwest. this is a lot more spread out. It's showing anywhere from Florida to Mexico. So the Canadians usually a little bit more widespread on these things, but as you can see, the general median path here shows it making landfall in either western Texas or eastern Texas or western Louisiana. Intensity guidance. This is where things get interesting. Few of these do show that this won't get stronger than a tropical depression. Many of these show it becoming a tropical storm, and one of them shows it becoming a Category 1 hurricane. I think the Category 1 is definitely possible, especially the way the Gulf really rapidly intensifies storms. We've been seeing that over the past few years. We saw it with Hannah this year. That was not expected to become a hurricane, but it did. So we definitely have to watch this storm. We definitely have to watch Tropical Depression 13. I'll link the Tropical Depression 13 video up in the cards. I'll also link my playlist for tropical cyclones in the Atlantic, and I'll also link deep dive tropical cyclones in the cards as well. Alright, let's move on. GFS model. Here's TD14. You can see the GFS is really having this be short-lived and just go right into Honduras. Then another low pressure forms there. Then as we wait for this to load in, you can see it starts to enter the Gulf after kind of barely clipping the Yucatan Peninsula, and you can see it's starting to move into the Gulf. That's usually where these things strengthen, and then this is showing that it will eventually hit probably in the very eastern part of that cone in Louisiana. So this and Laura, if it forms, would be pretty close if Marco takes that eastern route, which would be kind of weird. I was looking up earlier if the Fujiwara Effect has ever happened on land. The Fujiwara Effect is basically where two hurricanes are so close to each other that they start rotating around each other, and then they either combine, or one gets super weak, the other one gets stronger. So I was looking that up. It hasn't happened before, so could it happen? Maybe. GFS parallel model. You can see Tropical Depression 14 there. There's not much on this model run yet. Usually the parallel version doesn't have as much accurate, recent information. This is showing it intensifying definitely to a strong tropical storm, possibly a low-level hurricane, and this is showing it also making landfall in Louisiana. Canadian model. We can see that this is showing it making landfall in Honduras. Then it reforms, crosses the Yucatan, crossing the Yucatan, and then makes its way into the Gulf. Then at this point it starts to intensify a little bit, kind of staying around that 1,000 millibar mark here as Laura starts to make landfall on Florida. This has been very dull in terms of the intensity on Laura. Not as much for Marco until very late. You can see it's starting to really have this thing intensify, and it's showing that it's going to make landfall in northern Texas. So we definitely have to watch this storm. We have another area to watch in the Atlantic as well. Definitely a very active time for the tropics. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.